Hey guys, welcome back to Strike Fighters Modern Combat. Today, we're taking out the Saab Gripen, Sweden's latest fighter. To say the least, it's pretty underrated compared to the more famous 4th generation fighters. When this plane first entered service in 1996, it was the first fighter aircraft to use all digital instruments. Also, the Gripens required to take off from narrow roads and on short distances. And as a result, the plane has excellent low-speed handling and a short takeoff distance. The test pilot Peter Fallon demonstrated this perfectly at RIA 2019, and he won the best overall fighter display at that air show. When I was doing my research on the Gripen for this video, I found this chart that shows that the Gripen has the highest instantaneous and sustained turn rate of all 4th generation fighters. Now we need to take this with a grain of salt because it doesn't show the conditions of the aircraft and the weights as well. But at the same time, you're going to see why this might be somewhat important, as I will be using the Gripen's small turn radius to my advantage when I do the fighter sweep component of this aircraft review in this game. Now let's go to the plane's details in Strike Fighters Modern Combat. There's 5 nations that can use this aircraft: Sweden, Brazil, Czech Republic, Hungary, and Thailand. We have the Gripen C and NG variants in the game. Sweden and Brazil use the NG variant. There are 7 stations on the JAS 39C, while on the JAS 39E, there are up to 10 weapon stations, including that underbelly centerline rack. Some combinations of loadouts that the Gripen NG can use include 7 MBDA Meteor missiles, plus 2 Iris-T heat-seeking missiles, 16 GBU-39 small diameter bombs, 3 SMKB-82 bombs for the Brazilian Gripen on the Centerline 3 hardpoint rank, plus rocket pods and 2 more stations for whatever you want. RBS-15F or RBS-15F ER anti-ship missiles, plus 3 GBU-12 paveways. Based on the loadouts that the Gripen NG can use as well as to the Gripen C to an extent, I already see that this aircraft's versatility is very, very good. That said, I'll see you in the first mission. Welcome to the first mission. I'm flying the Hungarian Gripen C, and I'll be attacking a couple of Su-24s shortly. Now that the enemy has sent 3 Su-27 SMs, I am taking evasive action to evade their R-77s by using my right analog stick, invisible analog stick trick to evade them. And I'll also be firing my AGM-65 Mavericks at the tanks to make myself more fit for air-to-air combat. In a single head-on pass, 2 of the 3 Su-27 SMs were killed. I also managed to reverse quickly and severely wound the 3rd one. This makes the last Su-27 SM the least of my concerns. The Su-27 SM had the chance to fire 3 missiles at me. As I missed my first wave of rockets, I went in closer and fired my second wave of rockets at the enemy tanks. I destroyed all of them but 2 in one pass. I also quickly reversed, as you can see here, to kill the last Su-27 that was still alive. I killed the remaining 2 tanks as the timer reaches 10 seconds and the mission is complete. The results will be coming up shortly.
Mission accomplished. Good job.
Welcome to the second mission, Air Interdiction. Now I'm going to teach you how to use your small diameter bombs efficiently, and I also skipped the start because it's just rushing towards a target. But in this part, I'm climbing so that I can get my STBs to have as much range as possible, as well as have higher velocity when they release. I also want to make sure that I'm close enough to the vehicles because the first generation small diameter bomb is not so good at tracking the moving vehicles. So I have to get closer, and I'm also using my small diameter bombs against the targets, against the anti-aircraft guns, which are surrounding the vehicles as well as the nearby SAM site. I'm loaded with 5 GPU-12 paveway 2s as well. I'm going to use them on the convoy. I'm going to spread out my release of them to the left and the middle and the right of the convoy, which is in their perspective, the rear, middle, and front. So as you can see there, I spread out my release of the GPU-12 paveways to make sure that as many parts of the convoy, and I'm hoping that that convoy will be destroyed instantly as soon as all the 5 bombs impact. And as expected, that convoy was destroyed instantly. All I have to do is evade those missiles, and as you can see, I'm already close to those missiles. Even the S-400, if it tries to launch on me and I'm doing evasive maneuvers from left to right, that's not gonna hurt me at all because the missile won't be able to gain a good firing solution. I mean, a good lock-on. So all I have to do is to evade, and when that last SDB impacts the radar, the mission's accomplished. Our third mission is with the Brazilian Gripen NG, and I'm using 2 rocket pods because I wanted to make this mission more fun and test out my sniping skills against the anti-aircraft defenses in the sloped terrain. The reason I'm using those rocket pods is to make this mission more interesting, and it's pretty boring with the default loadout, which is all for MAR-1 anti-radiation missiles, or pretty much in all of the SCAD aircraft, those with the anti-radiation missiles for that matter. And you can see with my sniping skills here, I managed to kill the majority of the AA defenses as well as destroy most of the anti-aircraft vehicles before I get too close to them. After this part, I had to fight my way towards the other sites, and I had to meet a few Su-30s of the Venezuelans in a head-on. All I have to do is just simply head on, just make sure that I have the right lead on them. And these MiG-35s also attack me. I charged through the formation and I survived the head-on. And then they're deploying missiles at me. I finally reached the last SAM site. The second last SAM site, and then I fire my rockets to destroy the anti-aircraft vehicles as well as the launchers and the radar itself. And the last SAM site after this is not that far off. So I was originally planning to go for that SAM site, but the Russians and the Venezuelans caught up to me. So I had to use my flares as well as the ground clutter, and I had to start fighting them in self-defense so that I can survive. Now, what I did here was pretty much just killing the Su-30 and the MiG-35 that survived in my previous head-on encounters. And that was how the mission went. Overall, I would say that the mission was pretty decent. And it might have been a complete 5-star mission if it wasn't for these planes and if there was more mission time. Mission number 4 is an anti-surface combatant mission with the Swedish Gripen NG. Now, there are only 2 nations that use the Gripen in this game out of the 5 that can use anti-ship missiles, just Sweden and Thailand. The Gripen NG of Sweden can use 4 anti-ship missiles, while the Thailand Gripen and the Gripen C can use 2 RBS-15F anti-ship missiles. So if you're looking to get points, you definitely want to use the Swedish Gripen NG, as you can see with my loadout, because you could kill 6 to 7 ships in anti-surface missions with this loadout, and you'll be able to kill transport ships plus their escorts in anti-transport missions. You can also sink the carrier Liaoning if you fire all of those 4 at the ideal range, which is right before I am in the second, like the middle inner circle on my radar. And if you're using the Thailand Gripen, don't try to complete the mission, don't try to be a hero, just try to use your payload against the most important targets, and that's pretty much about it. Welcome to our 5th and final mission, Fighter Sweep. This is going to be the most exciting mission out of all the 5 missions because we're going to now use the Gripen in a dogfight, and we're also going to use its very high sustained turn rate, and if you can use it right, at quarter speed, instantaneous turn rate as well. Now, I'm going to skip that part because it took me too long to kill those MiG-31s, and I killed this MiG-31 head-on after those 2. And now there's a new formation of Su-27s that are heading towards me. So I'm now turning towards them and see how quickly I can change my direction because of the plane's canards, the awesome computers that this plane has. I also reload because I spent too much ammunition. My aim's hasn't been the best recently, and the BK-27 isn't as fast firing and it's not as easy to use as the M61. They fire some R-77s, but I'm using my barrel roll trick. So those missiles are basically null. As I'm getting close to those Su-27s, I'm preparing to switch to my guns. I'm gonna joust them in a head-on attack. So watch as you head on, because you have to be really careful to conserve your ammunition because you only have 120 rounds. It's like Shabak's but modern times. See, I destroyed that one. And then this other Su-27 fired R-77, but I evaded that. And see, he's dead. And there's another Su-27 here. I switched hit to him very quickly, and he gets smoked. And there are more Su-27s coming towards me, so I want to make a head-on, do what I can to destroy both of them. 2 of them are approaching head-on, and they don't seem to be evading here. They fire a missile, but I deploy flares in time. And I managed to destroy both of them despite their horizontal distance from my perspective away from each other. And then I'm switching targets even more. There's an Su-27 that's about to charge me head-on, and I'm hoping he will go head-on, but he's not turning tight enough to go the DL head-on I want. And he's running fast, and these things are basically just like how Shabak cannons are in War Thunder. So I'm just going to switch to the nearby Su-27 to get another 100, to get my next 100 points. This guy presents an easy target because he's smoking and he's dead. And I'm going to start to dive down to the deck because more R-77s are being fired against me. And they didn't really even go that close to me. I mean, they actually went close but didn't detonate. And here's another Su-27, which I can switch targets to because the Gripen's turning radius is tight. And then those Su-27s, I'm gonna attack them as well with a head-on, hoping that I can get another double kill streak, or maybe triple if I do really well. And I killed 2 of them, but because the timer's 25 seconds and I need 30 seconds to reload my guns, I'm out of ammunition, and the trigger discipline is insufficient, and I'm pretty sure that my trigger discipline could have been improved, and I may have been able to score more kills and possibly kill 3 of them if I had more ammunition at the end. So all I can do left is survive, and if I use my air-to-air missiles, they will deploy flares because I have more difficult enemies on, and missions accomplished. So what are my thoughts on the Gripen and Strike Fighter's modern combat? Like in real life, I think this plane's pretty overlooked in the game as well. With few people flying stuff aside from the American planes and maybe a few others that are really, really good. This plane is pretty underrated because it can deliver similar capabilities if used right, just like how the F-16s in this game are in new runs with the conformal tanks. As well as rival the F-16s, maybe the Hornets and Rafales in anti-ship capability. This is a plane that's definitely a great buy if you can afford it and you want a different style from the majority. That said, see you guys next time.